back to my new studio in Monavale for today's lesson in portraiture, which is going to be noses. Noses. The weird thing about noses is that people tend to draw their own noses. It doesn't even matter if you like your nose or not. You will end up drawing your own nose because it's the nose that you see the most. Because everyone's always looking in the mirror, checking out their features. Or maybe they're not always doing it, but you know your own face more than any other face. And so as a result, you think your nose is the way all noses are. So you try to draw that nose and you're drawing this nose. But that's a different story. I just thought I'd bring it to your attention. Have a look at any drawings that you've done and tell me if the noses look like yours. Mine always has these, a round ball here, and that's not every nose. So we're just going to look at the structure of the nose today. The different views. You can hear someone's doing construction out there. So there's some noise. I can't do anything about that. Just ignore it. Anyhow, we're going to look at the structure of the nose. The bridge, nostrils, and maybe some different views. Looking up this way, looking down that way, 3/4, straight on. I will be doing this lesson in colored pencils. Just to keep it simple. And join me now. Start soon. Okay, thanks. The colored pencils I'm using today are a yellow ochre, an orange, a rose color. Then I have a rusty red color, green that's a little bit cool, and a purple for cools. And then I have a brown and a white. And you can use any colors you like. Whatever works for you is fine. It's a good idea to have a look at that skull again, at the skeletal area around the nose, and to see where the bridge bone meets that opening. That is where the cartilage begins. So if you have a look at the superimposed picture here of the skull on top of Manny's face, you will see A, the nasal bone, B, the bridge, and that's where C, the cartilage and the bridge meet. That's your bridge. D, the fleshy parts around your nostrils, and E, your nostril. So it's important to see those areas and how they work underneath your flesh and your muscle. Here's a more in-depth look at that cartilage from a book called The Anatomy Coloring Book. It was written by Wynne Capet and Lawrence M. Elson, and it was published by HarperCollins. But it gives you a really good idea of what that cartilage looks like, and you can really see that some people have that kind of nose, especially the little split part at the bottom where D is. That's also where you can have the ball of your nose, and that's where the features really come in. And what I mean by that is the individual features that make everyone's nose unique. So now I'm going to have a look at different positions of Manny's nose. You can have a go at drawing these different noses after you maybe have done the other two exercises that I'm going to show you. But this is a nice 3/4 view showing you the planes of the nose. And here we have a view of the nose looking down. You can see that the nose looks quite long in that particular view. But if you look at the next view, we have what's called foreshortening. So the nose is very short, and you see right up the nostrils there, if Manny had any nostrils. But it's very important to notice that when you are looking up, that it will shorten the nose. And that's a good one for you to have a crack at drawing. The nose is like a modified pyramid or triangle with one side against the face. So I'd like to simplify this for everyone. So your nose really has 1, 2, 3, 4 little areas. So if I just draw the 3 areas, the top part, the side part, and the underneath, I have a 3/4 view. If I want to show that view from the front on, then I just draw the side on the right and draw the rest of the underneath area. Now that's pretty much it. that shows you the 3D pyramid shape of the nose. Now that I have the basic pyramid shape of that nose, now I can start drawing some contours in there. I'm starting with the areas around the eyes because what's around the nose is just as important as the nose itself. And then I'm working myself down. If you want to check to see if you're symmetrical or not, you can draw a line down the middle and flip it upside down and see if both sides are the same. And now I'm working on the bottom part of the structure and those planes of Manny's face. Once I'm happy with that structure, I can start putting in some different values, different lights and darks, which I'm doing there. And when you're looking at just that area in there, actually fades a little bit as it goes back. It's not as sharp as that bottom part or the part around the eyes. So I can make those things just a little bit darker. As lovely as a nose is as a line drawing, in reality there's no outlines around anything in life. It's where the values are, or where the one dark value meets the light values. It's the different values, the subtle values, that give the structure in a painting or a drawing and make things look 3D. Making the area between the eye socket and the nose bridge darker, and this area here I'm using my kneadable eraser to fade some of those areas away because it, like I said before, it's softer in that area. Kind of disappears. So I'm just going to change the lighting a little bit. That's better. At least it's a little bit better for me. And I'm going to start adding some warmth to that nose. So I'm using my rose-colored crayon, as you can see. And there's my orange. So that is the area that's coming forward the most, protruding is down at the bottom there. So I'm just adding it extra orangey there. And then I'm adding some cool pink to the bottom area because those two areas are going backwards in comparison to that orange area at the tip of the nose. So that's why I have a cool color and a warm color. And the rose color that I have there, it's still warm, but it's not as warm as the orange. And now I'm using a little bit of green. And that green area is a little bit cooler than the brown. Now I'm going to add a rusty color, that reddy color. What I really want is a crimson, like a bright red, but I don't have one, so I'm just making do with the pencil crayons that I have. To finish it off, I'm putting a bit of yellow ochre and layering some more colors, getting some more darks in there, and to blend the whole thing, at the end I use some white, and that tends to blend all the pencil crayons together. My first nose of the day is finished. It's very basic, but I hope that it's one that you can also do yourself. So let's have a look at the profile. Remember that the nose is still a 3D object, but in this case, instead of doing all four sides, we're only doing two sides. Maybe a tiny little bit of the front of the nose. So it's pretty much this area here that I'm coloring in, shading in. So you want to be looking at all the angles of this nose, the angle that the tip makes, the angle and the dark shade underneath that nostril. So just keep measuring with your pencil, aligning those different angles. Once you have those down, you can start adding color. Now, this is a very basic drawing of a nose. I cannot tell a lie. I struggled a little bit in trying to work out what flesh tones to do a gray man. So I've got some weird greens and oranges, but I'm finished, and that gives you an idea of how to do a profile nose. And now we're going to move on to a different kind of face. Now I found a picture in a magazine, and this face is a little bit more interesting and a little bit more advanced than the other ones. So not only is she 3/4, but she's also tilting her head up a little bit, which means her nose is a tiny bit shortened, foreshortened, and we can see the nostrils. So what I'm doing is putting a piece of tracing paper over it, and I'm going to trace the basic structure so you can see what that looks like. And of course, it's still a 3D object, and we can see three sides. We can see the bottom part there, you can see that kind of curves, we can see the nasal bone and bridge area and the side area. Now note that the nostrils are different shapes. That nostril there is more like a little bit of a square, if anything, opposed to a teardrop. So they are different shaped nostrils. They're not the same on both sides. Now you can see the basic angles and the basic structure of that nose. So now I can start drawing. I'm just going to show you the colors that I'm using, the pencil crayons, and how you can layer them on top of each other and continue to do that, and the wax of the crayon will have a nice build-up and you'll get some rich colors there. Sometimes it's a good idea to practice what colors that you might use in the face and try different color combinations of mixing just a limited palette of colors, which is what I'm doing here until I find something I like. And you can go very light in some areas because you don't have any white, so in that little area maybe I want it to be browner, but I can start in a feathery sort of touch like that, and then I'll get maybe the tone that I want. So looking at my basic structure, I'm going to start with that, and then I'm going to, after I get the structure in there, I am going to start building the shadows behind the nose there, because I think that's a great shadow and I want to capture that. I also want to capture underneath the nose and how that mustache area is shadowy. And I'm just going to continue finding all my angles before I start putting any colors in there. And there you go, that's my finished 3/4 upturned nose. And I hope you're going to have a go yourself with some pencil crayons or even just pencil. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Like and subscribe. I always forget to say that. Send me your comments. Send me your finished artworks. I would really love to see them. There's a link there that you can email me and show me those works. Thanks. See you next time for the mouth.